For the first time in 2022, welcome to Ohio Stadium. Give you an unobstructed look here at the brand new turf surface at Ohio State as we get ready for what we hope is going to be one really fun football season for the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'll sit a little off center so you can admire the turf in the background because that was such a hot topic in 2021 when the university really needed to replace that turf, and now it's down and ready to be showcased nationally on national TV tonight. I'm Brendan Gulick. Of course, this is Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated, our continuing coverage of the Ohio State Buckeyes. I say continuing because we've got an awful lot of content already for you, both on BuckeyesNow.com. We've certainly had lots of podcasts throughout the course of the week to get you ready for this top 5 matchup to open up the 2022 season. But it is also the opening game of the season, and we are really excited with some of the coverage plans we've got for you along the way this year. Certainly hope you'll stick with us throughout the year. College game day was on site here this morning. They just wrapped up. It is just after 12 noon local time here as we shoot this. Probably not surprising, but certainly notable. Everybody on set picked Ohio State. That did not include Kirk Herbstreit because he's calling the game tonight, but Desmond Howard said he thinks it's going to be a closer game than most of the experts are expecting, but he did pick the Buckeyes. Jack Harlow laughed and said he is starting his tour this week and he wants to get out of Columbus alive. He said, I could have grown up in South Bend and you couldn't pay me to pick the Fighting Irish today. So he picked Ohio State. And, of course, Lee Corso put on the Brutus head and picked the Buckeyes to win today as well. So if you're interested in finding out who those guys picked, the national experts at ESPN all picked the Buckeyes tonight. I think this is going to be a really fascinating matchup, and I think it's important to give you a weather update here early in our shoot because it is not quite as beautiful as perhaps we thought it would be earlier in the week. We shouldn't be dealing with terrible rain, but it's probably going to rain all day here in Columbus, and at this point would be surprising if it didn't rain at some point during the game. Now, there is a decent chance of maybe getting a break and it being light rain, but I think the expectation is that those who are on site here tonight are going to be dressed for the weather and expect that we could be dealing with some rain throughout the night. Fingers crossed that lightning is not a part of the conversation tonight, and hopefully that won't hold up any of the festivities. In the meantime, we're obviously still several hours from kickoff, so maybe we'll get lucky and the storm system will kind of move its way through. But right now it's on the south side of Columbus, and we'll be keeping our eye on that along the way. So we're still about 7.5 hours or so from kickoff as we chat with you from the shoe. And look, I think the turf could play a little bit of a factor tonight because the fact that it's new and slick both looks good, but also going to be slippery. I think that might make for something to pay attention to at the line of scrimmage. You know, right in the trenches, both sides of the ball are guys keeping their footing the way that you need to be able to effectively block or effectively rush the passer. I don't know for sure that that's going to be a problem. I'm sure the guys are going to have the appropriate cleats on. At least I sure would think so. But maybe something to keep your eye on. I don't think the rain is going to be so bad that it would inhibit either team's ability to throw the ball. But it might make for a slicker surface, so we'll keep our eye on that. Got a couple of other notes here on the game for you, and maybe we start on the Ohio State defensive side. You know, we've talked an awful lot about defense here in the preseason and certainly this week leading up to the game. And I think basically it just kind of comes down to how fast can the Buckeyes really pick up when it counts in game action what Jim Knowles has been trying to instill here. I think the adrenaline and the mentality are certainly going to be, you know, there. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But you start to see a different team who is going to throw different looks at you and maybe things you haven't seen before. It's part of the beauty or the frustration, I guess, of playing week one. You don't really know for sure because you don't have tape on somebody. And you got a new coaching staff on the Buckeye defense, and you have largely a new coaching staff at Notre Dame this year. We'll see. Obviously, new quarterback in Tyler Buckner. How effective is he going to be in game one? What are his RPOs going to look like? If Ohio State's going to double team Michael Mayer, can Notre Dame's other receivers win their one-on-one matchups. I think that's going to be really important if Notre Dame is going to make any legitimate run at trying to win on the road here, because they're going to have to score with the Buckeyes. I just don't see Notre Dame's defense slowing down Ohio State and keeping them under, certainly not under 30 points in my opinion, and probably close to 40. They're going to have to score some points to be able to win this game. So how can Notre Dame's offense exploit some one-on-ones and maybe make some plays, take the top off the defense? I think that's really important. Ohio State, we're waiting on the official game day status report to come out. But the expectation, based on what Ryan Day said this week, the Buckeyes are pretty healthy. There are a couple of injuries that we know about, right? Evan Pryor is not going to play this season; he's out with a knee injury. But a lot of the other injuries that maybe lingered toward the end of last year have been taken care of. Again, we should know probably around 5:30 today, but the expectation is that this Ohio State team is going to have just about everybody available that you would expect to be available tonight. So we'll certainly keep our eye on that. The fact that the team is healthy and at home and going to be playing in front of an electric crowd, I would expect them to come out and perform pretty well. A couple fun notes. How about on Notre Dame? They are starting the season with a road game for the second year in a row, which hasn't happened for them in quite a while. 2005-2006 was the last time the Irish opened the year with back-to-back road games. They also have not beaten a team ranked number 2 in the country since 1990, back in October of 1990 when Notre Dame beat Miami 29-20 in that game. So maybe that bodes well for this year's Buckeyes team. I don't know, just kind of fun to think about the history of it a little bit. Obviously, it's been talked quite a bit about that this is the 100th year of Ohio State football at the Shoe, not of the program, but here in this incredible environment. And I think what's so special about the Shoe is that largely it looks and feels a lot like it did when it was first constructed. Perhaps you aren't familiar with the first game that was ever played here, and we do have a fun note on that. Of course, ground was broken back in 1921 to build the stadium. And when they finally completed it, the Buckeyes knocked off Ohio Wesleyan, who's obviously just up the road here. They beat them 5-0 on October 7th, 1922. That was the first game ever played here at Ohio Stadium. And, of course, tonight against Notre Dame will start year number 100. If you are coming to the game, I know a lot of times at the end of quarters or during TV timeouts, it's an easy, convenient time to go grab a beer, stop at the concession stand, use the restroom, whatever you need. I would not recommend doing that between the first and second quarter, because that's when the Buckeyes are going to recognize the 2002 National Championship team. So make sure you're locked in for that. And a note on Ohio State here: over the last 10 years, they are 36-9 when they're playing against ranked opponents. That's a pretty impressive winning percentage. That's 80%. The Buckeyes are 14-3 against ranked opponents at home in the last 10 years. So they have found ways to play pretty well against good teams when they've got a home field advantage. We'll continue to bring you the latest here from Ohio State as news becomes available. Certainly keep your eyes out for the game day status report. Again, that should be coming right around 5:30. Tailgate lots are absolutely packed. As I walked in this morning at 8 o'clock and spent some time over at College Game Day, it was a really, really fun vibe here this morning. Unfortunately, the rain had maybe dampened that just a little bit, but it has certainly picked up in some of the bigger tailgate lots. Everybody seems to be having fun getting ready for the Buckeyes and the Irish. Kickoff is probably going to be, in reality, closer to 7:45, but Ohio State is hoping that everybody's going to be in their seats by 7 o'clock because they've got some fun pregame festivities planned, including, it sounds like, a couple paratroopers that are going to come in from up above. So hope you'll enjoy that if you're coming to the stadium. Get here early, give yourself plenty of time to park, and enjoy everything that is here today, because Ohio State and Notre Dame don't play very often, and these are obviously two pretty proud fan bases. So enjoy the game, everybody. I'll give you one more uninhibited look at Ohio Stadium's new turf surface. Of course, you can see the Safelite Field logo, which is brand new here this year in 2022 as well. And it won't be long before this stadium is really loud, and all the eyes around the country will be locked in. Ohio State and Notre Dame coming up here later tonight. I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for tuning in on Buckeyes Now. We'll see you real soon. BuckeyesNow.com.